So it's really unfortunate that it has come to this, but I'm going to have to go public and potentially risk my YouTube channel being shut down. So I have been a victim of, for the most part, civil harassment, where while I was away with the Marines serving my country, someone was calling the police on me repeatedly, apparently over 20 times, and the police would show up, and sometimes they'd make a report and sometimes they wouldn't, but they would also not follow up with me. So I wasn't aware that this was happening until many years later. So this ended up having a lot of police misconduct happen against me, and I'm now going to court for the last 4 years. I'm suing the individual who has called the police on me because they've caused me a lot of legal trouble. They've caused me a lot of property damage. They've deliberately, violently have destroyed a lot of my property, sometimes in front of me, sometimes in front of the police. So I'm suing them civilly rather than pressing criminal charges. Now, if I had pressed criminal charges on this person, I would suspect that the police would simply hand over the evidence and they wouldn't charge me for it. Since I'm going after this person civilly, because putting them in jail doesn't serve me a purpose, I want damages paid for. So I'm going after them civilly. The police have not been cooperating and handing over the evidence. I've asked multiple times and they've denied it. I've asked for body camera footage and they've denied it. I've gone to the ACLU and they've recommended me to other people. I've been going around in circles. I've got multiple lawsuits pending and I keep having the dates rescheduled. So then I started serving the police with subpoenas. And I've had the police served with 7 subpoenas. This is getting very time consuming and labor intensive and expensive. I've had over $500 just in legal process server fees having the police served with subpoenas. Now subpoenas 1 through 6, no response whatsoever. On the 7th subpoena, now they finally responded. They sent me a letter saying that they've got this and that, and they don't have this and they don't have that, and I need to pay them up to $380. So I called the records and they don't have a certain amount yet, but they're not going to release this stuff unless I pay, but they're not certain on the amount. So she said I had to write her a blank check. I was like, well, I need this stuff. So I went ahead and wrote the blank check and I mailed it to them. Now in the meantime, I'm going to court and I don't have the evidence. So I, asked to have it rescheduled, and they say why. I was like, well, I haven't had the subpoenas responded to. I don't have the evidence. And they're like, well, if the person's ignoring the subpoena, you can call the police on them. It's like, well, ma'am, no, the subpoena is against the police. And then she's like, well, then call internal affairs. I was like, well, I've called internal affairs and they're not getting back to me. And she's like, well, I don't know what to do. I can't give you legal advice. I'm like, well, ma'am, I'm not asking for legal advice. I'm just informing you of what's happening and asking it to be rescheduled. So if this was subpoenas against a private individual, I could call the police on that individual and they'd be facing fines and potentially jail time. But since the subpoenas are against the police, I'm not getting anywhere. I call internal affairs and they're not getting back to me. I run up the chain of command and go all the way to the chief of police. He's not getting back to me. I call the mayor. The mayor eventually gets back to one of my emails, says, any matters of police misconduct, call internal affairs. I've been through that. So then I'm sending emails to the mayor and the chief of police requesting a meeting so we can talk about police misconduct, and they're ignoring my emails and my phone calls. So then I'm going to the city council of Hayward and emailing and calling all of the city council members. They have not responded to any of my emails. I go up to the sheriff's department and they kind of say they're not going to do that and they hang up on me. I inform the FBI and they kind of chuckle and they say they're not going to do that and they hang up on me. So I'm kind of in a hard place here and I'm going to have to go public. So I sent them the check and they don't respond until after the next court date, which I already had to have to reschedule. And this is now over a year old. This is October 22nd, 2019. At least that's when it's postmarked from the Hayward Police Department with their address, and it's written to me. And their response, rather than me getting all the evidence I need, another denial of my request after 7 subpoenas. Your request cannot be completed for the following reasons. It comes all the way down to your check in the amount of $0. Well, I left it blank. is being returned. Please send a check for the amount of $380, and please resubmit your request with a subpoena. Then it's scribbled out. Just like, I need to send you another subpoena? It's like you haven't responded to the first 7, so I need to write an 8th one and go to court again and get that run around and pay all the fees to have another subpoena served on the police. I mean, you're reserved for 7 already. I have no confidence that if I have an 8th subpoena that you are going to answer it. This is official City of Hayward letterhead. So, I think I'll put the chief of police phone number and mayor's phone number and internal affairs phone number, maybe some other phone numbers in the comments so people can call and just flood the City of Hayward for not giving me the evidence I need. And I'm wondering why I need to pay for evidence at all, because, you know, everything is paid for by taxpayers. The salaries, all of your equipment, all of your data storage, all of the records, everything I've already paid for through all of my taxes. And if it was a criminal case, I would expect I wouldn't have to pay the police to hand over evidence. But since it's a civil case, I need to, or multiple civil cases, I need to pay you for the evidence. I mean, the ACLU sued the City of Hayward and the police department for an outrageous fee for body camera footage, and then they won, and then the Hayward police could only charge $1 for body camera footage from that ALCU lawsuit. So I'm wondering, why do I need to pay $380 to get records from the police? I mean, every time that the police were called on me while I wasn't there, while I was hundreds of miles away serving my country, shouldn't the police have followed up and contacted me and gave me the evidence so that I could, you know, press criminal charges on the person who was making falsified police reports against me when I wasn't there? I'm just like, I'm thinking that if I press criminal charges on that person, I'd be able to get all this evidence for free. But of course, I'm not too entirely sure what happened, because I need those police reports, I need those 911 calls or the Hayward Police Department calls. What's the body camera footage? What was said? What actually happened on all those days when the police were called against me while I was hundreds of miles away? You know, what actually transpired? You know, without me knowing, I'm kind of going in blind. But you know what? I'm not pressing criminal charges on the person. I'm just trying to get my property back, trying to get damages paid for. So that's why I'm doing this civilly. I'm being really polite here, trying to get everything resolved. And I'm thinking I'm being very reasonable with all the trouble I've gone through over the last 4 years. And in this case, it's been over a year since this response, and I still have not gotten any evidence. So, you know, I'm being very reasonable and I'm being really polite, but I'm going to have to go public with this. And we're going to have to put some pressure on you guys to release the body camera footage and to get me the evidence I need.